Today, what we're going to do is create a midpoint of a line segment. And we're going to do that using a construction called a segment bisector. Goodness, a segment bisector. So we're going to bisect a line segment. So I'd like you to sign on to your GeoGebra account till you get to your screen like mine. And then I want you to click on this button up here with just the plus sign, not the plus new. You can, of course, pause this at any time. Hit Start GeoGebra, and we're going to click Geometry Calculator. Okay, if you didn't get to click the Geometry Calculator and you need to hide your keyboard, do so. I want you to come over here and play around with it till you get this algebra icon. We're going to click on that, get our 3 buttons, and close that screen. Then we're going to come over to our geometry icon and turn off our axes, turn off our grid, just like we did the first time. So we have a blank screen with all of our geometry icons at the top. All right, so like I said, we're going to create a segment and bisect it to give us a midpoint. So let's put a segment out there. Now, when you do this, click on this line tool, go down and grab your segment tool. Don't make your segment very large and put it in the middle of your screen. I'm going to make mine no more than about this big. Now I have the labeling turned on mine. If you don't have the labeling turned on, it's not a big deal. Okay, so now I have this segment. I want to bisect it to get a midpoint. Remember, bisect means cut into 2 equal pieces. So the first step I'm going to do is go up and hit this circle tool up here. Gives me a drop-down menu, and I'm going to select the very first one called Circle with Center Through Point. I'm going to click on point A, and I'm not going to click. I'm just going to drag my cursor out, and you can see I've got a circle that I can make as big as I want. I'm going to make my circle, I'm going to follow along here, I'm going to make it about 2/3 of the way through my line segment. About there. So a little bit over half of the line segment. And when I click, it anchors that circle to my line segment. Now notice that it intersects here. So I want to mark my intersection. So remember how we did that on our first video. You come up and click the second icon here, go down and get your Intersect tool. Now I'm going to click my circle and I'm going to click my line segment, and it's going to put a point where those 2 shapes intersect. And that point is D. And that point D is about 2/3 of the way across my line segment. Now, what I want to do is go up and get my circle tool, get my drop-down menu, but this time what I'm going to select is my compass. And what I want to do is click on A and click on D. And what this does is create another circle that is exactly the same size as my first because it has the same radius. But this circle center is at D. Now do not click, but if you move your cursor around, you can see that it moves your circle around, and you can actually put that right on top of the other one. Don't click, and see it's the same size. But I'm going to move this circle over to where the center is at B, and I am going to click. It's going to anchor that circle. Now I have my 2 circles overlapping here and here, and I want to mark those intersections. So I'm going to go get my Intersect tool, and I'm going to click on my first circle and my second circle, and it's going to put those 2 intersections where the circles meet. Now here is my thinking. If I draw a line down through point E and F, that line should cut line segment AB into 2 equal pieces. So let's do that and see if I'm correct. So I'm going to go over here to my line menu and grab line instead of line segment. And I'm going to click on my top intersection and my bottom intersection there. And it's given me a line G that, as you can see, cuts line segment AB. So let's mark that intersection. My Intersect tool. I'm going to click my line. I'm going to click my line segment, and it gives me point G. My theory is point G is the midpoint of line segment AB. So to test this theory, I need to measure between A and G. So let's do that. Remember, our measure tool is this one right here. It looks kind of like an angle. Click it, grab the drop down that says distance, and then I'm going to measure the distance from point A to point G. And it tells me that that is 2.18. Now, that label is kind of getting in my way, so I want to move it. Get my move tool. I'm going to move that label up here. There we go. Now I've got to go get my measurement tool again. And I'm going to measure from B to G. And it tells me that is 2.8 or 2.18. So I'm going to move that one also because it's covering up a point B. So now I can see that point G cuts line segment AB into two congruent segments, and therefore point G is the midpoint. All right, now what I want you to do is I want you to come up to this top menu and say File, Save, and you are going to save this as Segment Bisected. All that right? Yeah, there we go. Now, remember, if this took you back to the sign on, just sign in again and play with it till you get back to the screen. And it is saving that. And if you go out to your main menu, you will find it under your saved materials, and you will show that to your teacher during your teacher talk. Okay, I think we're done.